Hi, Kat Hendricks here, the yoga mechanic. And today we're going to talk about those tricky transitions that we do in yoga class. You may have heard them called a vinyasa. Vinyasa is just a fancy Sanskrit word for moving with your breath. Problem is, most people haven't ever learned how to do a vinyasa correctly. Problem number two is vinyasa, traditional vinyasa, takes a lot of strength. And so you don't know the variations that you can do that'll help you build that strength slowly. Most people just muddle through their transitions in class and get discouraged, or even worse, get injured from doing their vinyasas incorrectly. So here's a few tips so that you can start building some strength and make sure you don't get injured in a yoga class. Here's what a traditional vinyasa looks like. You start off in plank pose, which is the top of a push-up. Yeah, you take a big breath in, and then you exhale, bend your elbows just a few inches like you're doing a little half push-up. Inhale, straighten your arms, come to the tops of your feet, look up just a little, and exhale, your hips go up and back into downward facing dog. Ready for the next pose. So all of that takes a lot of strength, and it can take some time to get your alignment figured out and how to engage all those different muscles while you're doing those flowing poses with your breath between sequences in a yoga class. So let's break it down a little bit. First trouble spot is plank. The very first pose, a lot of people tend to sort of hang in their low back in plank or have their knees kind of bent or sag in their shoulders. So let's try this. Come into plank. Yeah, squeeze your legs in toward the center of your mat, and then just lower your knees down to the floor. So you're in this sort of supported plank. Think about cat tilt, that rounding pose we often do in the beginning of class, and tuck your sitting bones down toward the back of your knees like you're doing cat tilt with your pelvis. And then hold that and think about doing cow tilt, reaching your chest and shoulders forward and up with your upper body. So two opposite motions, pelvis tucking under, chest lifting up. Now take your knees off the floor. Woo! I know you're finding your core strength now. So that's plank pose, and you can always lower both knees or just lower one knee, keeping the other one lifted while you start getting that core engagement. The next trouble spot after plank, of course, is when people start bending their elbows into that little half push-up. We call it chaturanga. That's a fancy name. It just is that little half push-up in your vinyasa. A lot of yoga teachers encourage their students to go really low. And I just have to say the yoga mechanic is not a fan. I think people just should bend their elbows an inch or two. Never let your elbows come back past your sides. So when you come to plank and you get your plank figured out, knees can be up or down. You're just going to bend your elbows an inch or two, just to where they come alongside your ribs, not all the way down here where your shoulders get too close to the floor. You can really risk injuring the fronts of your shoulder joints doing that, going down too low. And you still build a ton of strength bending your elbows just a little. So here's a great drill to work on your vinyasas. I like to use a couple of blocks, and for most people using just two standard blocks, good tools in the Yoga Mechanic toolbox, just using them on the medium side is high enough for most people. If you're a really tall person, you might need to use 4 blocks, 2 in front, 2 in back, and just stack them up if your arms are long because you're tall. What we're going to do is we're going to line up one block with the upper thighs and one block with sort of the center of your low ribs, right? So you're going to put them on the mat on the medium side. Find your plank pose, test them out. Get one block right under your low ribs, one under your upper thighs, and then we're going to press back to downward facing dog. So ready for our vinyasa. We're going to inhale forward to plank pose, top of a push-up, tuck the tailbone under, reach the chest and the back of the neck, and then we're going to exhale, bend your elbows straight back and lie down on your blocks, right? So now You're not supporting your weight. It's all on the blocks, and you can focus on engaging the muscles of the legs and the back. Squeeze your legs in, keeping your toes tucked under. Pull your shoulder blades toward the center of your back. Lengthen the back of your neck. Yeah. And then we'll inhale, straighten the arms, but leave your thighs on that back block. Lift your chest and just look slightly up. Don't drop your head back. Just look up, maybe with your eyes more than your face. And exhale, the hips high, downward dog. So using tools like a couple of blocks to help you drill your vinyasas and really get a feeling for what it's like to have all the right muscles engaged, the legs, the belly, the back, the arms, squeezing the elbows in, not bending them too far. It's a really great way to sort of learn good habits and break bad old habits that might end up getting your shoulders injured. After all, we do vinyasa quite a few times in most yoga classes. Okay, so that's it from me, Kat Hendricks, the yoga mechanic. Happy transitions.